What's up, guys? Welcome back for another video. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and that little bell too, because that's cool. And if you're already subscribed, you're awesome. Thank you. Now, today, I think I finally built up a little bit more motivation to work on the 190. So it's 60 degrees out. I mean, it feels a little colder than 60 degrees, but it's 60 degrees out, so it's not freezing. So I can actually have the garage door open and work comfortably because we're gonna be sanding down fiberglass and making a complete mess. So there's a little help with that. Now, where we left off here, got the car there. As you notice, if you're only been following along for the 190 stuff, the 240, my Nissan is sold. That's no longer here, so we got more space to work. I have the car a little further over that way. I mean, it could be in the center, but it works here because then there's space, but that doesn't matter. So the rear of the kit is fitted. Obviously not the greatest. We've got to work on these front fenders, and I'm not too hyped on it. So this is the front fender we started messing with right here. Let's get this somewhat on. And that's what it looks like. So as you see, it goes over the light, which it's supposed to be right behind the light. This doesn't slide back anymore, so can't do that. And it's really high, and I hate this. Not a big fan of this. So now there's the dilemma. So I love how the back of this kit looks. It makes the car look sporty, but not completely ridiculous. The front, I'm not a fan of. The fender comes very far forward, so we're gonna have to cut a lot of this out, but it feels like there's a little bit of support back there, so you're gonna have to figure something out with that. It comes way too far forward and way too high for my liking. I know the Evo 2 is like that. I believe the actual Evo 2 has some sort of lift, so it can actually lower and raise, and that's why, so you could actually lose some of that wheel gap. Just look how ridiculous that is. This is gonna be the wheel gap. I could fit a complete fist in there. And I don't really wanna lower the car much. That's just one thing, and then, I mean, this isn't a big deal, but I also don't like this look. I don't know. If you look how big the rear is, obviously fitment needs to get better, but it's almost like the thickness of a finger. But look at this one. Look how thick this is. It's like 3 fingers, almost my whole hand thickness. I don't know. It doesn't look the greatest in my opinion. Now we did take some meat off the back because we had to sand it down to get the fitment decent, which we still have to redo the rear passenger side to get that better. But I'm really not liking these fronts. I'm thinking we're just gonna get these installed and then figure out a way to lower the car. Even though my wife doesn't want to do that, it's got to get lowered. It looks ridiculous. This isn't a rally car. If you look at the rear, that's ride height, and that fender in there, right at the top there, that's got to get bent. That's got to get bent up and welded. So your wheel gap is pretty massive in the rear already, and then the front looks normal at the moment, but we're gonna have to cut a lot away. All right, so let me get this car in the air. Might mess with the passenger side. Hopefully the fitment's a little better. I don't know. Or we'll just continue with the driver's side. I'm going to get at least the front of the car in the air, get the wheels off, and the inner fender liner has to come off. Quick thing about the wheel spacers here. So I've got a bunch of questions through like Instagram and stuff about the wheels and the fitment and stuff like that. So I don't remember the specs of the wheels, to be completely honest. Bought them off eBay like 2 years ago. They're Audi. I think they're OEM Audi wheels, but they happen to be BBS also. So they're BBS Audi wheels, which has a different hub bore and a different bolt pattern than the 190e. So 190e, we found these spacers. So these are from H&R. I forget the name of them, H&R Plus or something like that. It's a spacer that changes your bolt pattern. So these bolts here are your standard Mercedes-Benz bolt pattern, And then these bolts are the new bolt pattern for the new wheels. And then the same thing with the hub bore. The inside, the bore on the Mercedes-Benz is larger than the bore on the new wheels. So it changes hub bore and bolt pattern size. Now these are 15 millimeter. You could probably, I think they come in other sizes, definitely wider sizes. I'm not so sure if they come in thinner sizes, because when you start getting thinner, you won't have as much bolt engagement when you bolt your wheels on. So you want to make sure you have a nice bunch of threads in there. Let me start taking this fender liner apart. Then we'll just figure out how to mount these fenders. We're gonna deal with it. We're gonna make the fenders mount. We're gonna mount the fenders up and all that stuff. As much as I don't really like the way it looks with it mounted up at this ride height, we're just gonna go with it because the rear's already cut, and we're just gonna do it with the front. We'll just have more wheel gap than I have on my truck. No big deal. Hey, I got some. That all fell out. Some of it on my leg, most of it there. All right, now that we got the wheel liner out, if I didn't, I think I forgot to mention it, but it's a bunch of these. They're just little 10 millimeters. Take them off. There was 6 of them, and then you just peel it back. Now, we have a bunch of space in here for activities, so I could get my hand back there. We'll actually be able to put these bolts on from the back. Now I'm just gonna try to start lining this up to figure out where it's gotta go. That is not where it's gotta go, I can tell you that. It almost seems... No, because why would it do that? Close. Hopefully that stays. It's just one piece of tape, but... this spot there, trash. I'm considering there's, I don't know if we're gonna be able to see it here. There's that nub right there, dead center. I might grind that down a little bit. The one in the back behind that I sanded down already, but it might line up with one of the original holes that held on that little gray piece, that little gray trim piece that extended from the doors. This section, not happy about that. This doesn't even fit right. But there's nothing else I could do about this. I don't think this bumper has to sit lower. That would be one way. That would be one way to get that to fit a little better, and it probably wouldn't cut off the corner of the light. But then it would fit even worse down here. Sigh. Something to say. I'm just so sick of hearing everyone complain. I know it's tough and I know there's pain, but hitting bottom is the only way to change. So I'll keep just doing a bunch of trimming just to try to get it to fit better. So I have an idea. Starts with cleaning the lens off a little bit. So I had an idea yesterday or the other day about getting this to fit a little better, to make my life a little bit easier. It probably wouldn't make my life easier, to be honest, but it would make it fit. It would make it look good. So let's look at the fitment we kind of have on the fender right now. Then I'll probably get like 1 or 2 mounting points in just to hold it in for now. The front end of it needs work, and the top needs work, which is what I'm going to talk about addressing. But let's look. So we actually have this fitment. We actually have the fitment coming up from there. Here is nice and tight. That looks really good. Then when we get up to here is the problem. So I can't get that to completely close the gap, which no bueno. Then the other problem we have, obviously this comes too far forward. It's supposed to be right behind the light. Passenger side might be a little better, but this is what we got to deal with here. And obviously that. So it really needs to be tilted down a little bit more, which the bumper is in a good spot because it's the same height on both sides. It's this fender. If you look at what we got here, could barely fit my finger in there. Then slide over to the other side. Can barely fit my finger in there. So if anything, the driver's side is actually lower, but that's what we're working with. So I don't know if any of you have ever spray foamed in a basement or in a house or seen it on the internet, but they have this double expanding, well, it's like a mixture, I think, of the two. You shake them up and then you spray it and it mixes. It's usually used to either use it as insulation. You could spray it on your walls, or you could like seal cracks with it or pipes and stuff like that. So you spray it in there, it expands and it becomes super hard. So what I'm thinking is getting something like that. Well, maybe exactly that. Spray it on these fenders and then shape the foam so everything looks good, and then throw a layer of fiberglass over it. In theory, in my head, that should work. So let me show you some of the spots I'm thinking. It's mainly the fender fitment and stuff. So rear fender, you see it's all right. You see a little bit of body there, which you don't want to see. That's supposed to follow that body line perfectly. And then when you get down here, it's too far back, and then there's way too much of a gap there, which is definitely the side skirt's problem, because if you follow this line down, that line should fit perfectly with that body line from the door. It doesn't. And if we look at the front, same thing here. It should follow that body line down, and it doesn't. Like I've been saying about this kit, this is the Duramax kit. It is absolute shit. Don't buy one unless you plan on putting in a ton of work to get this to fit okay. Their packaging methods, not very good. Mine actually came in better shape than I've seen, but big crack there. The wing, pretty messed up in a few spots. I've seen a couple more online of people's that have come in a lot worse shape than this, so that's something to note also. But I don't know what I'm going to do with this fender at the moment. Maybe we're just going to try to get it mounted. I don't know. Another thing with the foam fiberglass thing I'm thinking of doing, I'll also be able to get this, well, if I get that better, I mean, I could extend this. I've seen people extend this with fiberglass. Not specifically this kit, but I've seen people do that know what they're doing. Could extend that to make this body line perfect. Not sure if I'm going to leave it out this far, but then I'm definitely going to have to do something with this, because I trimmed off a lot just to get it to fit a little bit better. And then we have this discrepancy between the bumper and the fender flare. So with some foam and some fiberglass, we could actually get this to fit that perfectly, and it'll look like it's supposed to be there. I decided I'm going to get a couple spots mounted, maybe 2 or 3 we're going to throw in there just to hold it, since the back section is mounted up. Since the back section fits pretty damn good, I'm going to probably mount it there. Probably one down here somewhere, and then there's a couple up here. I'll probably just do 1 or 2. I'll probably do 2 of them. There's one here, which maybe I could get it pulled in nice and tight. I might do that one too. Maybe that'll be one of the 2. We'll see. So let me get the drill bits out. I don't remember which ones I was using for the other ones, but I'll be right back. Yes. Past Chris was looking out for present Chris. Drill bits taped together. Well, this was just in there. So you need a 3mm Allen key for these well nuts. Now, let's talk about the well nuts again. So anyone that's been following along with this build will know I've talked about these well nuts multiple times, but if you're brand new and this is your first video watching, welcome, and this is what a well nut is. So I'm using these to mount the kit. Right here is well nut. This is, well, it's this bottom part, just rubber piece right here, and then you have this bolt that goes through it. We don't need this fancy washer like this for the sake of this, but it works. But for the sake of this, we're using it right now. So this would be on the electric ratchet, but you tighten this down. This tightens down. You can see it starting to mushroom out a little bit. That grabs whatever you're sticking in.
That's what she said.
I've used this in the past to mount stuff to cars. When I had the Subaru, I had rear valances mounted with this. 240 that just sold. The whole body kit was mounted with these. Usually it'll go in this way, and that's why you have this nice washer, but these didn't come with these washers. I had these, but you'll have a nice washer, goes in the body, tighten it down, mushrooms holds it in place, and they're removable. So you have a riv nut also that's not removable, using these. If you're interested in these, I'm gonna leave an Amazon link down below in the description. If you are interested in buying these, please use the link, it helps me out.
hustling, you keep struggling. Bitch, I'm humbling. Keep mumbling, I'll keep doubling. You keep bluffing, you've got nothing. I'll keep hustling. I've seen a lot of people who don't know what work is. I've seen a lot of people.
2 seems to be pretty solid. When we finally get the fitment a little bit better towards the front half of the fender, we'll probably throw 1 or 2 more on. Probably 1 more will be perfect. Might as well do 2. But I think we're gonna have to do some fiberglass work. I'm probably gonna clean this line up at some point. I'll probably just put like a piece of tape to try to get a straight edge on it, and then just sand down to the tape. This is where the second mount is. As you can see, it kind of follows this body line. Pretty clean, and then right when we get to that mount is right when the fitment starts to get horrible. So you see I can fit my finger in there. Not ideal. I mean, really, if you look at it, without that gap there, if you just follow this fender, it kind of lines up with the bumper. Yes, you lose some of that, but we could probably add that back in when we do fiberglass and foam. And I just got to figure something out to do with that spot right there. Maybe I'll just wind up grinding it off and then fixing it with like some foam fiberglass stuff. I don't know yet, but we're getting there. Hopefully when we go to the passenger side, the fitment's a lot better. But I'm not holding my breath for that one, because everything about this kit has been pretty bad. So I came to the decision, that's it for me today. Pretty excited, got this mounted. Let's look at it from the side. Obviously, we don't like what the wheel gap's gonna be, but there's no going back. So what I'm gonna do is install the other side off camera, or get it basically installed off camera, maybe tomorrow or so, I'm not sure yet. Then from there, we're gonna cut the stock fenders on the car, just so it'll kind of look like the rear ones. So the rear ones we cut. If you want to go back and check out that video about the rear ones, I'll link it up in the corner. Go check that one out. Then after we cut these, I think there's going to be a video on sealing them up as best as I can. I have a cheap welder from Harbor Freight. It should hopefully get the job done. At the time when I bought it, I didn't really need one, and I just had a couple like really small projects, so I bought a cheap one. Probably should have just spent the money on a more expensive one, but that's for another video. I want to thank you guys for joining me. It's coming along slowly. Next time you see this car, I will have the passenger side mounted up also, but then we're gonna instantly take them off, take out the fenders. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I know we didn't get a lot done today, but this is just the next step to get this whole thing complete and to set up the process, at least in my head, on the next steps. I'll see you guys in the next one. Post videos every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 3 p.m. Peace out. Hit that subscribe button.